hope we have good reception. Hi, good morning. It's Patty and Jennifer, and we wanted to share with you and let you in on our conversations. And we've just been in this discussion for a while, and we just feel that it's really important that we share this with people other than just her and I. And so today we were talking about things that hold us back and things that really trump our success. And so
Right.
if you can just share with me, like, what is one thing that holds you back?
I think it's a lot of things that can hold us back, and I think it's really just being aware of it. Because when you're aware that certain things are just going to come in the way, whether it's doubt, fear, or your own limitations that you have set in your mind, then once you're aware of that, you can kind of troubleshoot through it. But some of the things that hold me back, I think it's like, one is kind of analysis paralysis, over researching, over looking at the pros and cons on things, not trusting myself, not trusting my ability to do certain things. Like even if I know that it's something I can do, and that I'll overanalyze it, and that so understanding that it happens to me, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can resonate with that, and just open up the conversation. I mean, I think that it's just important to touch on it, and I mean, yeah,
so definitely, something that's key in what you just said was about being aware that this is even happening. Because a lot of times I think we go through life and we're in a place where like we know what we want to do, we know what our end results are going to look like, we know we want to get there, we don't know how, we don't know exactly what's stopping us. And then
right.
And so what I've discovered for myself has just been that a lot of it is just me. It's like not
Right.
the circumstances are not stopping me from moving forward. It's not a financial issue. It's just it's me that holds me back, and why it's me, it's just I wasn't trusting myself to be able to do something. And then once you're able to come back from that and know that that's the problem, then I know where to start working. And
Exactly.
and I know that in order for anybody to believe in me, like I have to believe in myself, and this is how it starts. So again, and outside of just us sharing, like I know what your capabilities are, and I know that you're a bright young woman with a beautiful future ahead of you. And so sharing with you has always been important, and you know that. I mean, you're part of my world, and I enjoy having you and being part of yours. So, and I wanted to acknowledge Jennifer because she's a very young 26-year-old, 25-year-old, and I had to pay respects.
Don't mind the background noise. Hope you can all hear us.
Yeah, but I wanted to introduce you to her as well. Jennifer has been part of my life for a good couple, more than several years.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really proud of her progress. As more just seeing her and where she stands and how she speaks makes me really, really proud of who she's become, and just knowing that like there's just so much more ahead of you, and that life is gonna it's beautiful now, but what you're creating with your caring for other people and making sure that everybody that's around you is growing at the same speed you are, along with helping them identify those issues that or what's stopping them from achieving their full potential. Like that's amazing. When you're selfless and your focus is on others, not just yourself, then that's where you find your true growth. And I'm like super proud of you. I love you so much.
And I'm proud of you. I love you. But I mean, touching on that, I think it's not only kind of important for us to do that, but it's almost like you grow when you do that, when you share with others, when you realize that it's not about you, when you realize that when like that is the next level. We go through life, we learn about what we go through it, and we're trying to figure it out, And then once we realized, like, okay, this is not just about me learning, you know, it's about me being able to share with others, me being able to you know, pull others up while I'm coming up. And I mean, I, by all means, like, I feel like, yeah, I try to extend myself to people and I try to do that, but like the amount of support I've had with you, with so many people who have just mentored me, who have taken the time and you know, really showed me, you know, what it takes to live a life with intention, with purpose. You know, I think that it's almost like a cycle, because you model behavior, you know, what you see that others are doing, and what, if that's something that you're intrigued by, then more than likely and influenced, you'll then model that and you'll be able to share with others just like you were taught.
So back to what she's doing. She's actually she's put together a group of female entrepreneurs that, you know, like-minded individuals that are looking for ways to really fully continue on their journey with their business, and not just touching on their business, but touching on life all together. So a lot of times it's, you know, we might have that formula to like help take your business to another level, and then we really forget to touch on things that are important, especially to us women, you know, and we're going to focus on that because that's what we are, and we run across these issues like all the time. They're like daily battles in the mornings, and you know, just things that would knock a woman down and make us feel like maybe this is really not for me. Right. Maybe I should, you know, focus on my kids. Maybe I should focus more on this. And then the reality is like we should always focus on everything that we want to focus on. Like whatever's important to you, that's what you need to work on. And so, like, seeing you come out here and seeing you grow and be out there in the world with all these other entrepreneurs, like, you know, it's so true. It's like, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe, and I know that, like, I see that within you and what you're sharing with these women. It really fills my heart, and and so when it's, you know, some of the topics that she touches on, like, this is so dark. Sorry, guys. That's probably better. Why is that?
It's just what is all right, we're just troubleshooting over here.
Yeah, we got technical problems. I think
it's just what it focuses on. Okay.
Better.
Cool. So, yes, Patty was saying we put together kind of just this group. It came all about, or the way that it came about was just having conversations with, you know, wonderful women like Patty. As if many of you that know Patty probably know that I used to work with her, and that was just such a pivotal moment in, you know, who I am as a woman and as a, you know, business person. I really was able to learn a lot by seeing just one woman who has overcome so much, who has pretty much every excuse in the book to not succeed, to not wake up every day, to not, you know, push harder, but see somebody work that hard on the daily. I mean, that's really what has motivated me. From morning to sundown, I was able to, like, see Patty in her elements, and I really feel like, you know, again, you kind of model behavior, and you model those people who influence you, and real leaders are just influencers. You know, they influence not by force, but by just being the best version that they can be, and putting other people's needs in front of their own. And, you know, this woman right here has been one of those people for me, and who has showed me, you know, more than what she was trying to teach me then, when it was, you know, we were just working together, to really instilling in me a belief that, you know, that I had a lot to give, and that there was a lot more deep down that I could dig. And just like we all do, we gotta, while we were going through this journey, we got to keep digging deep, and we kind of have to keep, learning and transforming ourselves into the best versions of ourselves. So, I mean, this live, we really wanted to just kind of put you guys in our conversation, because we really have so much to share, and we just hope that it really resonates with some women out there, or men who are, kind of unaware maybe how to empower their women and what they're thinking. There's just so many ways to share with each other what the things that are holding us back. What is that, and how can we overcome it? And identifying them, because once we identify it, we give ourselves power to overcome those things. So, yeah.
And thank you for that. I think that's so key in what you're doing right now. Is it's like one of the fundamentals of what you're doing to empower others, is acknowledging people for what they're doing, and always, and praising your brother and your sister, praising them for, sometimes people just go unacknowledged,
right?
And it really could be like that could be like the turning point for that person. And when you're able to share with them that other people are noticing, the good in them, and that it doesn't go unnoticed. And it really, it fills me to hear you speak just in general. But to know that those nights and those 4:30 in the morning wake-up calls, they weren't in vain. And I really have always believed, in you, and the caliber of a person that you are, and every time I speak of you, it's the same conversation. It's nothing but, I feel a lot of pride, in knowing that you were by my side for those years, and just to see you develop the way you're doing now, it's just, it makes any mom's heart just glow. I love you. But one of the things that I think you wanted to talk about was like things that hold us back, and just like some examples of that. Like what would you say for you, has been something that like was holding you back from really fully exploiting like your potential as a woman or a businesswoman,
I really felt like there was gonna be a moment where I was just gonna have permission. I didn't know if it was just gonna be a title, or once I had a certain degree, or once I had a license that gave me permission. And what I realized is that no one's gonna come and give you permission to be great. No one's gonna come and tell you, okay, this is your time to take power. We really have to just take it. We really have to, stop letting that fear of I'm not good enough, of, it's not for me to do it, somebody else is going to do that. Once we realize that we have permission, we give ourselves permission, then, it leaves, like, all the possibilities are open then. Because, if we make up our limitations and we accept them, we get to keep them. So, what those limitations are, whether it's you not being able to, feel like you have a voice in your company, or feel like you don't have a voice in your relationships, feel like, you kind of just let life take you by, and you're just kind of in defense mode versus in offense mode. I think that's what, personally, that was holding me back. Feeling like I needed someone to give me permission, and it's still something that I feel like it's like a muscle, right? We build it as we keep taking courage and doing that thing that you didn't think you could do.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly, like this. So, yeah, I mean, as far as like with you, what do you think is what is one of those things that you feel like holds you back, or has held you back in the past, that you've been able to overcome, and how did you do it?
Well,
Putting you on the spot. Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, so I guess for me it's been self-doubt, like definitely, and I think this is one of the biggest things for women culturally. I really believe that being raised by first generation Mexicans, it's empowering women was really not something that we would discuss, and then I took that. I was domesticated that way, and I took that and made that to be true, like for myself. And so I was always in the constant belief that, at home I was being brought up a certain way, but then society was telling me like, no, like, women do need to go out in the workforce. Women, it's okay for a woman to be the breadwinner of the household. It's okay for you to want to lead and for you to want to be more. And at home, it wasn't like that. So I had a constant battle in my head about what a woman should or shouldn't do.
Right.
And so I was stuck very much for a long, long time, even through my marriages, that I should act a certain way out in the field and just be a powerhouse out there, and then come home and just be submissive and do what I was supposed to do at home: cook, clean, take care of kids, do all that fun stuff.
Right.
And I when I realized that I could fuse those two worlds together,
right,
that's when I found my power, and that's when I knew that, okay, like this is how. Like, how do I do it now, though? Because I know that I want both worlds. I'm okay with both worlds. But I didn't know how to do that. Like, I didn't know how to combine the two. And it didn't come until a lot of trials,
right,
and I discovered that I didn't trust myself to do it. And I wasn't trusting myself because there was something blocking me in my mind from accepting that was possible. But once you identify, and then just when you're in a conscious state of mind, and you know that, like, this is possible for anybody, and it's not going to diminish your worth. It's not going to make you less of a housewife or more of a housewife or less of a businesswoman if we can find and create that balance. And I really believe that creating a balance in our life is essential.
right,
to our future growth. And then also having people around you to empower you, to lift you, and to keep motivating you to move forward and to create that life and break.
Right. And so because you're basically, which is really important for most people to know, because I feel like your power looks different from the next person's, right?
Yeah.
And so if it deep inside of you felt like I want to be, I want to own my own businesses. This is what I want to do. However, you're kind of back and forth because of you were pretty much, in this environment that told you who you should have been. And so it was then that they were telling you, this is what Patty needs to be like. This is what, is expected from you. And so what was it that made you shift that mindset? Was it because you said you realized that there was something different,
right,
that it wasn't, it wasn't up to you to be a product of your environment. You weren't just a robot in an assembly line. I mean, at this point, you took control of your life. Was it books? Was it, was certain people in your life that helped you see that within you?
Yeah, and that's very important that we're able to identify and then be able to capture that. For me, it was the times I've fallen. The times I've gotten up, and believing, even as when things go south and we really feel like there's no hope, and then, we start getting back up, and then you don't realize it right when you're doing it, but as you take a step back and you realize, like, oh my God, I did that.
Right.
Like, I fell, I ate it, I was in the dark pit for a long time, but I eventually came back up, and it came back to level, but do I want to still live that life and be at that, in that space, or do I want to excel? So then the only way, I feel that the only way I was able to rise a little bit higher than where I was before I fall was by really capturing like the lessons in that. And so that pushed me to research and to look for more. So I did, personal development classes. I've read books. I love books, and I live by them. And I really get to experience and be part of the author's world. And it's so hard because a lot of times we think in our head that we have all the answers of what's good for us. But when somebody and you're open and you allow other people to share their perspective,
right?
It's like, it's a different point of view, and you're open and receptive to so much. So you just become like this sponge. We're like kids, where we'll pick and pull things that resonate to us in our life, and you make adjustments, and then. Really growing in my faith, because quite frankly, I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't any of that. I did carry a lot of hate and anger, and not towards anybody in particular, just sometimes towards myself, and then just forgiving myself and letting go of all the guilt. Like, it was really freeing, because all that energy that I was putting into that negative space is now open, and now I'm able to go and cultivate and create and read and be enlightened by people like you and people that are around me in my brokerage. It's really important that we surround ourselves with that those type of people that create the same world there, that are looking for the same results as you. So for me, that was it. It was falling, getting up, reading books, going to church. I'm a strong believer, and I know that it's only by God's grace that even you and I are sitting here right now, because we could have totally different conversations, but we're not. This is who you get to be and who I get to be, and it's beautiful.
Right. So with all that and all, you feeding yourself and being able to really, kind of open your eyes that there's a whole new world, there's all these things you didn't know, feeding your brain with all these books and just constantly learning and becoming a lifelong learner, how do you think that that's translated into your business, especially within the last, I want to say, maybe year and a half, that I've really been able to see kind of you flourish into the Patty that you are now? I mean, there's definitely been kind of a pivot for both you and I. However, what is it now that is different from you, like a year ago? Has it been you just being able to push that to the next level, letting go of limiting beliefs? Because now it just feels like you're more taking a more of an offense.
Right. So, well, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
That it's been a work in process, right? And
what would you tell others? Like, this is what would work for you if you...
So for me, like I said earlier, I went through a life transformation class. It really helped me see when I get out of that dark space.
You have a breakthrough?
I did. I had more than one breakthrough, and one of the biggest things was that for me was to learn how to separate like our story versus reality.
Right.
So knowing that a lot of things happened to us when we were younger, we could share about that later, but there's like so many things that have happened in our past that we carry with us every single day of our life, and then
right.
And we make it be that forms who we are, or that we're not worthy because I did bad stuff, or because somebody did something bad to me, and so it was making me be that I was just unworthy. I should stay low and just do what I'm supposed to do just to survive.
Right.
But it was when I came into the realization that none of that makes me who I am. Those are all just circumstances, and it's something that did in fact happen, but every time we think about it, every time we talk about it, it's almost like we relive it.
Right.
And so carrying that load and bringing it with you into every relationship, into your business, and it creates just doubt within you. So being able to powerfully just like let it go, and just understand that those things did happen, but they happened once or twice, and they stay in the past.
Right.
So once you relieve yourself of that burden, and know that we all like have the same opportunities every day in the morning when we get up, that doesn't form you, it doesn't shape you, like it doesn't hold you, or it doesn't own you.
Right.
Then now it really freed me to look for like, you know, what my purpose is. Now I felt like I wasn't like not entitled, but I just felt like, okay, I regained myself as a human being. Like I now have access to my full self. Like and it's like I'm not shamed by my past. I know exactly where I came from. You know, I embrace it. You know, I love my culture, and I'm not ashamed to be a statistic. And that's what I was always like embarrassed or ashamed of like, oh my God, like, you know, what people are gonna think. This doesn't look perfect. You know, I'm flawed.
And that's a huge. That's another huge, I think, kind of hurdle that most people go through is, what are other people going to think? Are they going to agree with this? And I think that the biggest struggle for most of us, and I mean especially women, is going to be that, you know, kind of that we live in a culture, in a society where most people are let us, you know, it's all based on what other people think of us. So, you know, whether it's both in business and relationships, and, you know, personally, just as an individual, we can't let those things hold us back, because people are going to think that's what they're going to do. They're going to have opinions, and, you know, we got to be able to hold a higher opinion for ourselves than what we let others put on us. I think that once we become clear of who we are, what we're made to do, and who we're going to help, because it's not always just about us. And because once we make it about us, then we lose all the power of what we're really capable of doing. You know, once we realize that, you know, we're not, everything we've gone through, everything that we're learning right now is not made for you to store into your, you know, into your bucket and just be successful, or just be a great person and just not share that with others. Like, we're really put it here to build on ourselves so we can build others. You know, that's really the only way, and that's what it feels like when you have that power, when you have that clarity in mind of who you are, and those people who need you, and those people who are waiting for Patty to come to their door and help them, and waiting, you know, or all those people who you're going to come across, whether it's good and bad, whether they have good or bad experiences, you know, we're all just lessons for each other. But when we're intentional about what we're doing, when we're, you know, outcome driven, and we understand that we're here for a purpose, we're here to make a difference, you know, I feel like it's so much easier to accept ourselves, because, you know, it is what we have only one life, we have one, you know, one self to accept, and I think that's where we really need to begin, within ourselves, by, you know, practicing and making it a routine and building that muscle to love yourself. It's the hardest thing to do, and most people are looking for instant gratification, and for others to do it in a world where we can get hundreds of likes, where it's easy to do it, where, you know, people judge us by our bank account, and people judge us by, you know, what we look like, our class, our status. It's important to realize that none of those things make us. That once we're able to accept ourselves, and we, you know, feel accepted, then, you know, it's not so much about trying to fill that void. Then we can go on with our lives and just bless others, you know, and just work on building others while we build ourselves.
So we wanted
probably wrap it up soon.
So we just wanted to thank you if you had a minute to join us throughout any of this conversation, and just to welcome you into our world, you know. And this is truly, it's been a big moment for me, and I love listening to my Jenna, and she's just beautiful inside and out. And if the more I hear her speak, you know, the more my heart gets full, and I'm just really honored and blessed to be able to share these moments with you guys. And I want to wish you guys all a beautiful and blessed day, and to make it productive, and to remind us, to never let go of our dreams, that everything's attainable, and that there's resources and help for you out there. And all of us need it. We all need some kind of support group, whether it's be your spouse or in group form. But I'm really proud of Jenna and her venture of uniting empowered women, business owners, to find that to get to their next level. And it's not their final destination, but just the next level. And that's it. We just wanted to share with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone. We'll let you go. Bye-bye.
Bye.